Good evening and welcome to another session of our Navigating Life series. And tonight, oh, what a treat. Tonight, we're going to be looking at male-female differences. Interesting indeed. So, Brother Andre will be guiding us, and he'll be here momentarily. He has a little issue with his computer, but he'll be all right. Okay, so as you know, this series is brought to you with the compliments. It's an outreach program of the St. Andrew Church of Christ. We try to help people to navigate through life. As we are conscious at this point in time, there are serious challenges that all of us are facing. The pandemic has raised a number of issues, but honestly, there were problems, challenges, if you want to call it, before the pandemic. People had issues before. Suppose the situation here has now been magnified sometimes now, I suppose, because people have more time to stop and to reflect. So more of those challenges are coming to the fore, but we have had issues before, and we have had to find ways to navigate through our lives. And we have always also been able to benefit from advice and information that's coming in. So before we ramble on, let me do a little bit of housekeeping. Thank you for being on time. We strive to start on time and to respect the time when we're coming to the end as well. But sometimes there are some really hot discourse issues that we might ask you for a few minutes. All right, so let's get the ball rolling. Just want to ask you, if you don't mind, if you would keep your mics muted. You could also stay off with your cameras, keep your camera off, and so that we have less interruptions, less distractions, but you can stay on, not a problem. But we're going to ask you definitely though, to keep the mics muted. If you need to speak, you can just raise your hand and you will be identified, and at some appropriate time, you might be invited to make your comments. Of course, the chat option is there, and you can use that at any point in time. Right, so we have gone through this. If you're with us for the first time, then maybe this is useful to go through. So I'm actually Trevor Smith, and I am a co-host of the Nav Life series. This has been actually going on from pre-COVID. We used to actually meet at the building, 77 Radius Road, and then it has morphed into this, and we're happy to have this wider audience. Our facilitator for this evening is Brother Andre Allen Casey, who has been a Christian for over 3 decades. He's a counseling psychologist and my go-to psychologist. This is the dynamic force in psychology in Jamaica at this point in time. He comes well trained. He not only was trained in Alabama at the Heritage Christian University, but Andre also has a master's in counseling from the Northern Caribbean University in Mandeville. And having said that, one of the things that we would know about him now is that he's a person who understands timing, because having just introduced him, he's now on. So I'm going to actually empower him so that he can take over and guide you. Perfect timing. Go ahead, sir.
But thank you very much. The timing, I'm still off. I'm so sorry. I mean, my laptop here is giving me, I mean, some senior problems right now. I'm literally, so I'm still begging for 2 more minutes for this thing here to come on. But while it is booting up so that I can share my screen, let me tell you, let me share with you the structure that I'm looking for. There's a possibility where we might have a part 2 possibility, but we will see how it unfolds. We want to hear from you, literally, because a large part, at least half of our segment, is going to be interactive. We want to talk about male-female differences. And we're going to be asking about 4 different questions, 4, maybe 5 questions. And it is from those questions we're hoping to get some different responses. What we do know is that men and women are very different by nature, in the way they think, in the way we act, in the way we relate to each other, in the way we respond to each other and to different situations. One of the things that I have noticed is that we customarily try to treat each other from our standpoint, from our point of view. And so if I like a particular thing, by and large, that's the way we treat each other. And that's the kind of things that we expect from each other. So if I like tomato juice, then not only do I demand tomato juice of you, but if I'm not, but I also give you tomato juice. So not only do I ask for tomato juice, but I give to you tomato juice, because that's what I like for the most part. And if you like milk, you not only give me milk, but you demand milk from me. And while in a lot of different areas of our lives and living, that is understandably so and accepted to a point, it can also be quite problematic, because what we're trying to say here is that where do we come off having a conversation with each other to find out from each other what is it that you like or what is it that you don't like? And so men, we stop to find out not only how women think, but also what is it that women want, and vice versa. Women, do you stop to find out from us, understand the way we think and also the things that we want? And if we don't really stop to do that, then you're going to find that we're going to customarily force. Force is not a good word, but we're going to customarily, want to tell the other person, this is not only what I want, but this is what you must do for me. one of the questions I sometimes ask is, suppose our partners, and when I use the word partners, I must admit I'm using it in the context of husband and wife. Suppose it is that our partners really do not want what you have to offer. Suppose that is not a part of their love languages. Then already we can see how that can pose as a problem. You know, my thing is taking so long. I think it finally, I think I'm finally here. So let me put it in, what do you call this? Oh, I shouldn't put it in this mode as yet. Give me a second here. But it's finally up. So let me, my thing is running very slow today. I'm trying to press the escape so that I can get into, but I can't even get back to, I cannot even get back to, here we go, excellent. So, all right, let me hit that. Okay, there we go. Excellent. Share screen. All right, I think I'm finally, hopefully I'm finally here now. Okay. Let me know if you can see my screen properly. Yes?
Yes.
Okay, all right, excellent. So let's go. First question. And again, let me give you the rules now. We only have 1 minute for different persons to give different responses, and each person only have about 10 seconds. Okay, so that's the rule. We have 1 minute and we only have 10 seconds. We have enough questions here to get as many folks in as possible, but we have only 1 minute to answer the question, and each person who wants only have 10 seconds. So if we mute you, it's because you're gone over 10 seconds. So please do not go beyond your 10 seconds. All right, first question. Do you think men are many times misunderstood? And if so, how? Everybody, anybody, you can mic up and talk. If you think again, talk too long, just put it in the chat. We'll come back to the chat.
It's Richard.
Do you think men are many times misunderstood? If so, how?
What's going on, my brother? It's Richard.
Oh,
All right, I'm gonna take too long. Hey, it's what I think is this, because men normally use half of their brains most of the time. They say what comes to mind immediately, or thereafter. Like a woman, they use both sides, so they think about things, both ways, and then give you a different perspective. So sometimes it's because of what a man comes up with right off the bat, rather than thinking about the consequences of what he's going to do or say, then it may be misunderstood.
okay. Do we have any more takers? Do we have any more takers? Do you think men are many?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Ms. Henry.
Some men are being misunderstood, and I think it's based on how they are cultured, and it's based on their environment. It's based on the fact that men are not being told to be emotional, because when they are, men are told that they're soft. So for the men who tap in on the side of emotional intelligence, they will, are being able to understood. But I believe that some men are often being misunderstood based on the way how they're cultured. They're not able to get their communication across, and it also on the basis that some women are not able to understand some men. Does that make sense?
Okay, good, right? Very much so.
Yes.
Very much so. Do I have one more person, please?
I believe that men are
Welcome.
misunderstood because in the same way, the lady that spoke a while ago said that men are socialized not to show their emotions. That is not only about socialization. Some men are just like that. So women are socialized to expect men to show emotions. And based on my experience, that is not always the best thing. Because when a woman when a woman gets emotional, if the man gets emotional as well, then there will be total chaos. We need to balance each other. So men cannot be as emotional as women, and not just emotions, other things as well. So sometimes we need some contradiction between us, and women need to understand that.
Okay. Okay. Can I get so I got what? How many men I got? I got what? 2 men, 1 woman. Can I get 1 more female, please? And then we'll move on. 1 more female. Do you think men are many times misunderstood? If so, how?
Hello, hi, good night. I think men are misunderstood because they do not know how to express themselves. And I don't think that too much emotion is a bad thing, but expressing and understanding what you feel is what is lacking, in my opinion.
Okay. And remember, everything here is an opinion. We're not saying anybody is right or anybody is wrong. We are just getting some feedback from folks, literally, because what is true, what we do know. Thank you very much, everyone who shared thus far. And for those who didn't get to share, the next question you get a chance to share. Okay. So here's my piece. Now, again, we're not saying anybody here is correct or right or wrong, but what we have found is that many times, men are many times rather misunderstood because of the nurturing and societal expectations. And I think that was alluded to by I think Ms. Diana. Men are under tremendous pressure to perform, to measure up to other men also, and to be successful. They aren't supposed to complain or be scared or even depend on others for the most part. And so men may not act, or rather may act opposite to how they feel, suck it up, distract themselves through work and addictions, or even become controlling. Your man, you're supposed to. And we're not saying anything is wrong with that. We're not saying anything is wrong with that. We're just trying for folks to understand a part of the male's psyche and the context. And so these unconscious defenses mask the part of men longing for love and support, thereby perpetuating misunderstanding and unfulfillment. And so that is, after I've done some pen to liquor research, this is what I have come up with, so to speak. But by and large, what we just want to kind of state here is the fact that, yes, it is true. Now, although we say men, I'm not going to get to females clearly, but let me go right there. Do you think females are misunderstood? Maybe the men and both men and female can answer that question.
You gotta answer that. Some women are too emotional. And sometimes they say things or don't say what they want in a sense. I mean, it goes both ways as far as maybe misunderstood, like we mentioned earlier. However, sometimes women want you to read between the lines sometimes. And if you're not smart enough or have a lot of experience in relationship, you're not going to be reading anywhere between lines and so forth. So, it causes miscommunication and so forth.
Okay, good stuff. Anybody else? Do you think women are misunderstood?
Can I go ahead, Brother Andre?
Go ahead, please.
Okay. I was going to ask, can you misunderstand what could not have been understood in the first place? A joke.
You're going to
I
get
think
stoned.
women, I think women are misunderstood as well.
How? Talk to me.
Because a lot of men, at least in relationship wise, aren't listening. So because they aren't listening to hear what it is that the woman is expressing, then they won't be able to properly understand her, because you have to listen first to get the proper comprehension.
Okay. Wow. That was deep. Anybody else? Do you have any more takers? Do you think women are misunderstood? And if so, how? So we got listening as part of the thing. I'm not looking at the chat. Maybe I need to monitor the chat. As if there's any comments from it. Do you have any comments in the chat that speaks to why a male or a female might be misunderstood? No?
I'm not seeing anything new.
Not seeing anything?
I think
Can I get two more? Can I get two new faces, new voices?
Okay, Andre.
Yes, go ahead.
All right. This is Vivian. I think women are misunderstood because women like to explain themselves or say what they want to say, so that expecting the man to listen, and the men want the end of what the women have to say. They don't want to hear the body. They just want to get to the point. So we're misunderstood because you don't listen. You don't hear the full story, and you don't want to hear the full story. Just get to the point because you're logical and we have too much explanation. So I think that's why we're misunderstood.
Okay, very, very good. I'd love to hear from one more female, but before I do that, let me go ahead and put some and remind us that we're just sharing our opinions. So let us speak in the third person. Let us say, I think men, I think women, and say I think. Use the word think. Don't talk as if to say definitively. Please do not do that, because we do not want to not only offend, but seem as if we're labeling women in general or men in general. So you can even some men are this way and some women are that way. I think some women, I think some men. So let's put a little bit of invite to speak that way.
Okay, so that's what I think.
Okay, very much so. Excellent, good stuff. Not only that, what I invite you to understand here too is the fact that I invite us to use today's session as a means of gathering information. So when you hear, rather than push back, folks, let us sit back and say, oh, wow, I never know that's what women wanted. I never know that's what men wanted. Because again, rather than forcing, that's why I gave the explanation earlier. We tend to treat each other from our own context, and we don't stop to find out from each other how they want to be treated. So again, let me invite you to literally, while other folks share, that we take copious notes, that we learn, rather than walk away saying that, hey, well, this is what I believe and full stop. No, okay, because so we're not on the man's side and we're not on the woman's side. We're here, everybody's kind of here to see how best we can learn from this session. Okay, good. Can I get one more female? Or male? Or male, doesn't matter, male or female, anyone.
Okay, I think women are misunderstood because women keep a lot of pressure on them. They make things look like it's good when they're under pressure, and they continue to go on So then the men think, well, all is well. She can do it all. She don't need it or she don't need help or anything. That time we are under pressure. So I think that is one of the reasons mainly that women are misunderstood, because sometimes women are in pain, they're in agony, but they don't stay. They still come out and do for the children, do for the family, do everything when they themselves are under pressure. Thank you.
Wow, I mean, sorry to say wow, but sorry, man, I forgot to say wow on that one. I think that one was awesome, personally. Excellent, excellent point as to why women can find themselves misunderstood. I see Sherry B raising her hand. Go ahead, Sherry.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I think women are misunderstood at times because men, and it's the same thing I said, Mr. Casey. I think men sometimes don't take the time out to know a woman, understand her. I give an example. I remember I was at work the other day and I said to this male, I had said, oh, just come into my office for a few minutes, right? And when I said that to him, he said, oh, I'm going to ignore this because you gave an attitude. I'm like, what? No, because he wants to say I would have a problem if he says, boy, I can't steal. I'm saying, no, and I'm explaining to the gentleman, listen, I'm telling you about myself. He's going to tell me I don't understand my own self. And I'm saying, I'm telling you, I'm not upset. You know what I mean? I'm saying, listen. And I'm like, and I said to you, don't take the time to know and understand. So sometimes it can be a big problem when people don't take the time to understand. So there is a lot of misinterpretation and etc. Okay, that's my point.
Okay, good stuff. Last person.
Brother Andre.
Oh, hold on a minute. Let me hear Anisha first.
Okay.
Good night, everyone. Good night.
Good night.
I think why men and women are generally misunderstood is lack of communication or poor communication. Because on one hand, you have most times females are the one to speak up, and all of that, and men are the one to be quiet and listen. Some of the times, a female may be saying something to a male and probably he do not understand what she's saying, and sometimes instead of speaking up and saying that he does not understand what is being said, he prefers to go along with it and pretend like he understands. So sometimes it's lack of communication or poor communication or lack of understanding of what is being said.
Okay, excellent, good stuff, excellent. Now somebody was saying something a while ago. You have 1 minute, not even 1 minute. You have 10 seconds because I need to move on to my next question. Go ahead.
Oh my goodness. All right, so I'm reading this book by Gary Thomas called Sacred Marriage. And he said, generally, why most people are misunderstood, typically females, is that most men, they don't listen to listen. They listen to respond. And I think this is true, even speaking from a male's perspective, but I want to take it a little further because I don't think misunderstanding has anything to do with gender per se. I think it has to do with a developmental aspect of the individual, be it male or female, right? If that individual is mature coming into a relationship, then he or she understands what that relationship entails. And therefore, if his partner or her partner is speaking, then you would give that person the utmost interest or importance to at least find out or understand what they're trying to say. So I think it has to do more with a developmental aspect as opposed to a gender-centric aspect.
Okay, excellent, Abraham. Curtis, rather. Now, I must admit, I'm about to show something. I'm going to share something that might be gender related, so to speak. And the reason why, because when the study was shown, it seemed as if on one hand, men just seem to continuously respond a particular way. Now, here's where I totally agree with you, though. I do believe that nurturing can trump gender. I honestly do believe that nurturing definitely, and that's what these sessions are, to help us to redevelop us, if I can use that term, or recondition us then so that we learn to listen differently. Excellent, excellent, excellent.
One second, Brother Andre. There's a chat. I mean, if I can just very quickly just read the chat.
Okay.
Then it says, I think when women don't feel safe or that their feelings are not taken seriously, that they don't tell the whole truth or they don't tell at all. They just show up as usual and do what needs to be done.
Before you read the other one, can I want to agree with Donette right there? You know, really and truly. And it was expressed earlier in a different way than the way Donette is saying it. But again, where we can learn from each other, when we can learn and hear the information and even what women are saying about women and what men are saying about men and what men are saying about women and women are saying about men. When we can learn and we hear something that we can really just step back and don't take it personal and learn from this, you know, this is one area that I really invite us to zone in on. And so I love what that Donald person just said. Go ahead with some others.
Diana was saying I believe that human brain functions differently from gender to gender. All right, that's it.
Okay. All righty. Excellent. Now my next question is 4 questions I have. How much question I got? Number 1. Hope it's working in and don't freeze up on me. Okay, here we go. So my next question. Are men's attachment needs different from women? Are men's attachment needs different from women? Let me get three men, 3 women on this one here, quickly. Three men, 3 women on this one here. Attachment needs. Are they different?
It's Richard again.
Okay, go ahead.
You know, I think it's different at different stages in their life. Because when you're younger, you're going for having a girlfriend or stuff like that. When you get older, you're looking more for security, job approval, and protection of your family. And you know, if you're single, then it's a different thing. And I just think that the different stage in life, you look for different things.
Good point.
Yeah.
Anybody else? You can choose a stage and talk from it. Men's attachment needs different from women's. So I heard from a male, let me hear from a female now. Yes? Female? Or we're going to get the next male? We have 68 persons on it now.
Andre, I tend to agree that the attachment needs are different. Men are different from women. I look at security. Women need security earlier on in life, I think, than men. You know, so I just state that one. There are others, but there are stages to our lives where, you know, at one point, I mean, depending on how mature you are as a young person, maybe looking, some persons may just want to socialize, and then when they reach into the 30s, they're looking for security in marriage, and when you move on down the line, you just want companionship. So for a man, the tail end could be companionship. So I think overall they are different.
Okay, good stuff. Anybody else? Can we press what kind of security? Although I like how Vivian mentioned it about earlier on in their lives as against later on into their lives, what that security could look like. Good stuff, good information. what kind of security though could we be considering here? Could we be talking about here? Financial security, emotional security. What kind of security? Physical security? What? Anybody?
The biggest type of security, just somebody who's more level-headed and somebody who's more stable in life.
Excellent.
I said all of them, like you said, physical, financial, security, you know, being able to take care of your family and feel good about yourself. A woman, like lady said earlier on, she wants that security at an early part in life, you know, and at the end of it, you know, companionship and everything, you should already be stable, you know, and so forth. But it all comes together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we have one more person? Men's attachment needs different from women. Male or female, doesn't matter. We have identified 1 and 2 already at different stages and things like that. Anybody?
Chat.
Chat? Okay, let me hear the chat.
It's done it. Attachment issues aside, I think it comes down to nurture. Men who have a healthy relationships, with parents and family members may have healthy attachment styles. But if they have trauma, they may tend to flee, or they may become too attached too quickly, borderline obsessive.
Whoa.
Another
I'm afraid to get into that one. I was kind of afraid to get into that one. But who said that? Whoever said that one? That lady is spot on, by the way. And that is very, very true. That different attachment needs, you know, you can develop what is called dependent personality disorder. Because of that, you feel like you cannot make any major decisions unless you have this person into your life. If there's something imminent as far as a breakup is concerned, you might threaten to kill yourself. You know, so you have what is called codependency, personality disorder that can also be impacted because, again, of what that person just mentioned, the way you were nurtured. And so if you feel that, let's say daddy was always there for you in everything, in whatever you say or do. And I said I wasn't going to get there, but oh gosh, I get myself in problem. But let's say daddy was the rock, the rock of Gibraltar into your life. Then frankly speaking, everything, the kind of man that a female may choose is going to pretty much resemble that, all of those pleasant experiences that she had with daddy for the most part. And this is what daddy did, and daddy look after me, and daddy buy my car, and we never get to go hungry yet, and this is what my dad did for me. So if you're not careful, you know, again, get myself in problem, I said it already. If you're not careful, you know, you have to be careful that you don't end up marrying your dad. But anyways, I shouldn't say that. But seriously, but it's not really marrying your dad, it's marrying everything that your dad represents, really. And then that can kind of put the male under some kind of pressure because he's still trying to measure up to dad by and large. That's from that standpoint. Now let me go on the other side now. So if the male now find that mommy, especially mom was just very much so grew up with mom, and mom did this and mom did this and everything for him, then really and truly, same thing, very, very similar scenario here. You find that his attachment to this female is everything that resembles what mom did for him. So listen, when we come home, food cook, cause mom, listen, when I get up, mom wash my clothes, you know, mom clean the place. That's how I was nurtured. And so if I'm going to become attached to you, then the question is, do you replicate how I was nurtured in my formative years? Any comments on that before I move on?
One comment.
Go ahead. Sorry, who is speaking?
Hello.
Go ahead, Diana speaking.
Okay, right. So I hear exactly what you say, sir. But could I just say this? All right, we're talking about attachment, right? And we're talking about security, but isn't attachment different? I mean, in sense of, are we going to look at our socioeconomic factors such as wealth, education, and or culture? Or can we look at also, whether we're having insecure attachment style as adult reason, but do we blame all those relationship issues that we would have when it comes to attachment on our parents? Or do we also look at our own personality or experience during childhood, adolescence, adult life? Doesn't that also play a role in shaping our attachment styles?
Very much so. Excellent. So answering somebody, I don't remember who it was now, who put something on the table, and I was just elaborating on that statement where she mentioned about the background. And you have just done that also, where you spoke about the background. So not only the background contributes to our attachment styles, because remember, we're products of our environment, whether we like it, yes or no. So if we understand that what I see in my parents, this is how I saw my dad love my mommy this way, or this is how I see mommy treated daddy. Then if I'm going to, by and large, if I'm going to get involved with a female, that is my first place, literally, my first experience that I'm going to draw on. Whether I have money or don't have money, that is my first experience that I'm going to draw on in how I'm going to be become attracted or even attached to you, the opposite sex. And it goes vice versa also. But you have also mentioned some other stuff, like, for example, personality. And that's a powerful thing there. Sometimes, by and large, and it is so true, that our different styles, whether it wants to be the D style or the I style or the style or the C style, or maybe I should use that is from the standpoint, or we can talk about the domineering, the person who is altruistic, the person who have sanguine personality, some of those things, or even develop a personality disorder while they were growing up, literally, and therefore even becoming even narcissistic. Who would this person choose? Do they want somebody who is very subservient and will listen to them and things like that? So really and truly, ask that person to mute. Thank you. And also, you're right. So the socioeconomic standard of a person. Suppose in their mind they say, this is the rich man me want. I want a rich woman. I want an educated person. So again, because of their background, they might, by and large, believe that there are certain things that must come first and foremost before they, for them rather, to become attached to this person. Let me get some more takers. This sounds good. This sounds good. Anybody else want to comment on that, on all those things? What Miss Diana said.
Boss. So you want to look in the chat and go through?
You can talk it through for me now. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Anisha. Attachment has to do with one's mental ability. Sometimes a person is attached to someone because of the manipulation or otherwise. Andrew is saying women's attachment needs seem to be more dynamic. So Shauna says there are exceptions because someone goes outside the box. Some of us go outside the box. Andrew says men's attachment needs seem to be more simple and static. And then it has daddy and mommy. I think how we view mommy and daddy and what they did is from the eyes of a child, and that we are not, we were not privy to how mommy may have related to daddy outside of your eyes, and vice versa. Looking for your parents' traits in a spouse may be detrimental. All right, and Richard agrees with that. Definitely the way you grow up affects everything going forward as you become older into adulthood.
Okay, good stuff.
So let me just I just
go ahead, yeah.
That we shouldn't overplay childhood, but at the same time we make a mistake if we overlook those early years. They have significant impact going forward. So that's another reason why we, earlier on we did a lot of the parenting work, because that environment is very, very important. I don't. It's not a stamp that cannot be removed, but it does play a role. So yes, nurturing can make a difference, but also those early years and the experiences that we grow up with, things that are said, not only mommy, daddy, but generally, what it is that the worldview that we have as we grow up makes a lot of difference. And certainly by the time we start to have friends and colleagues, and if we get into whether you want to call it the right crowd or the wrong crowd, whatever it is, those things are going to shape how we relate to the opposite gender.
Okay. What I will add is that the truth be told, so you have you have a therapy that is called psychoanalytic therapy and psychodynamic therapy, and by and large, what we have seen is that the mommy daddy thing really, although it's not a stamp, the truth is if intervention does not take place, the mommy daddy thing is we are going to be products of our environment. And remember now, if those who are around us, who are nurturing us, as far as the formative years are concerned, then it leaves an indelible mark on us unless intervention takes place to reform our thinking about our expectations of certain given relationships. So if the intervention don't take place, whether it want to be in school or school teachers, the kind of friends that we keep, church, I'm just saying, if we do not have these different types of intervention that will reform our thinking and renew our minds, then what becomes almost like a default is how we were treated in our formative years. That's just what that is. I have something here. We can just look at it. Can I get someone to read this for me? Well, today is really interactive day. Can I get someone? Go ahead.
It's talking about the third line.
No, everything, male attachment.
Everything, okay.
Yeah.
It says male attachment needs are somewhat different from women's. Men generally do not need verbal communication about feelings or talks about their relationship, nor do they need direct verbal validation of their feelings or needs.
I stop right there. Do you know who can tell me what is the key word in this?
The feelings about the relationship.
One word I'm looking for.
Need.
Need. Very, very good. Generally do not need. So it's not that they don't want it, it's not a part of them, but clamor for it. The answer is no, they don't need it. It's a different kind of need compared to women. Continue.
They do need to know, however, they are appreciated, respected, and loved.
Stop right there.
Men are
that's right. So that is what, for the males, generally speaking, they need to know. So here's one need now that they must get and must have. So the difference between the male and the female is largely that say the female might need the feelings. Well, all right, we'll go there. You see what I'm talking about. That the female might need certain things in order to have attachment. The men might need something else in order to have that attachment. And what they need is the fact that if they feel appreciated, respected, and loved, then believe you me, the attachment is going to, it is easier for them rather to become attached. For the female, if she feel nurtured, if she feel loved, if she also feel respected, where she's listened to, somebody mentioned it earlier into our talk, where she feel like someone that the person is paying attention to her emotions and her feelings, and is prepared to validate those feelings and not to dismiss them. I'll put her into a category and say, why you behave like you're a woman? A woman go on someone. No. But if the male tries to understand what is it that she's going through and the feelings that she's having and the point that she's trying to get across, then really and truly she become attached even a whole lot more to that male than the male that dismisses her. Before I get your comments further on this, continue reading. Many adults
and men are often,
and
men are often quite satisfied by having these needs met with direct physical and nurturing behaviors by a woman.
So when a woman touch him and hold him and say, I love you, and look at him face, and rub down him foot and comb him here and plait him here and cook him dinner and something, put him toenail them, right? I know I have some women chomping at the bone, ready to talk, and I want you to talk to me, please. But when the men have some of these experiences, generally speaking, we're saying, not all men, but generally speaking, then believe you me, wow, feel good, so that, well, so that's why if you're ironing clothes and cooking food and all those things, you notice he appreciates those things. Well, that's part of his attachment need. We're not saying it is right or it is wrong. We are only telling you the different attachment needs. For the female, if she sets out to do these things, and you also, men, what we need to do is not only say thank you, is to also say, something, I will do this. I'll do this for myself too. As a matter of fact, not only would I do it for myself, but I can do it for you too. I will cook. You sit down. I will help the children with the homework, right? I'll cook for you today. Go and sleep. Go to your bed. Don't worry about it. I will do this. I will do that. Come and talk to me and tell me how was your day, and engage them in those different ways, right? Then again, the woman's attachment needs is also fulfilled. Before we get any more, one more reading and then we'll get some responses. Many adults feel.
As many adult men feel a basic sense of security and even love simply by the very presence of the significant woman in their lives.
Okay. Ladies, do you want to talk? You want to share? Was talking about things a while ago.
That's why some people can live like roommates. Because it turned from being a romantic relationship to just like a routine. So if the things that they want, you're carrying them out, the task you're carrying them out, it feels like you're a routine person now. So now I understand. Thank you.
I'm not sure I understand that, but okay. Okay, so Shauna, Miss White, okay.
But Andre,
go ahead.
All right, so I'm going to take you through a quick scenario. When I was first introduced to psychology, the very first video we looked at to show the impact of environment on the mind was Tarzan. And from that whole scenery, we saw that Tarzan actually thought he was an ape because he grew up in the jungle. So his entire environment shaped his worldview. He started behaving like an ape. I want to use that analogy and bring it into this discussion, because let us just suppose that you have a young woman who grew up in a very toxic environment, and she really doesn't understand what real love looks like. Because what I'm hearing so far is that I'm hearing ideals, but let us just suggest that a man actually grew up well. He knows how to nurture a woman and he is healthy. But because the young woman grew up in a toxic environment and doesn't really understand what real love ought to look like, she could be seeing his positive implements as being repulsive or even unnecessary. So, what do you say in a situation like this where it's not that he is being bad, but it's that she really doesn't understand what good looks like?
Okay, excellent. There is a concept in psychology that is called multiple victimization. And multiple victimization kind of also speaks to the idea that if over and over you have been treated a particular way, then the truth is even when best treatment come, you can't recognize it. A matter of fact, you can feel attached is unless you get a similar bad treatment. Just saying. Seriously, by the way, it's a real phenomenon. No, how you fix that? And by the way, it could be male, female, or female, male. Doesn't matter. You know, whether it's Tarzan girl or Tarzan boy, but whichever one. You know, that is how they have been culturalized, and that becomes their worldview. And this is why I mentioned earlier the importance of having intervention. The importance of having intervention. How do you fix that? Well, we're hoping that programs like these, seriously, we're hoping that programs like these that will help people to understand self-love. You know, that will understand, self-love. Yeah, how do I learn to love me? What does self-love looks like? I'm not talking about selfishness now. We're talking about self-love, where I'm able to protect me. I'm able to understand what is called my, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a word that I use, self-efficacy. You know, I'm able to understand my self-efficacy. Yes, I can. Yes, I will. Yes, I must. What is it that I believe about me? What is it that I value in me? There are times, literally, in my sessions, I have a mirror thing, right, in the room, in my room. And sometimes I might ask both male and female, I say, stand and describe yourself. Sometimes I go as far as say, compliment yourself. And it's amazing how sometimes people will compliment themselves, read the physical, and there's nothing as far as character is concerned is a part of that complimenting. Sometimes people compliment the character and leave off everything about the physical. Right? And so the truth is, you see, how we can fix that is try to remind folks of what kind of ink is in their pen, that they are created in the image of God. And if God is love, then they have the potential and the capacity to grow in love and understand love and expect love and give love. You know, so sessions like these, literally, I hope can help to give folks a better understanding as to what they can expect in or from the opposite sex. Okay, do we have more? I need to move on. Do we have one more?
One more, sir.
All right, quickly.
I love Mr. Abraham analogy. I think it was brilliant. And I also think it goes both ways. You know, what he says, it's like it stood out. And in terms of how he explained the concept of putting everything together. And I think it does work both ways. And as you said, Mr. Alan Casey, you know, you have to now put in the concept of talking about God is love, because what he says can impact a person not just in their early adolescent age, adulthood, but right into you getting older. Yet there are still men and women who, you know, love will come knocking at the door. You're so prone to being self-defeated and self-sabotage based on what you're used to. So when the genuineness now hits, you're not able to identify or even accept that this is love or this is real. So what you said was just brilliant. I love it. I love it.
Okay, good stuff. Excellent. Sex for men is a primary attachment need. Females, our wives need to understand that. And by the way, I'm speaking to husband and wife specifically now, compared to women who need verbal communication and validation. Just giving a different, and we probably will say more about that. Men also tend to have fewer friends than women, generally speaking. And when they do, they tend to focus on activities rather than verbal interactions, watching sports, hunting, fishing, these are the different types of examples. So we're just giving some different examples of the different additional attachment needs than what was discussed earlier. Excellent, good stuff. Okay, next question. Let us see the time. I'm not seeing it. Okay, good. All right, very, very good. Don't know if we're going to finish, but let's see how far we carry this. Do men and women think different? I can't answer my own question. So do men and women think differently, or do we process information the same way? Quickly, 3 persons, 3 men, 3 women. Let me come from some new persons. Do we have some new folks out there? That we don't hear from us yet? Hello?
Totally different.
We don't get no new person yet. All righty. Anybody who want to go ahead and speak and just, remember, you only have 10 seconds to talk, so go ahead quickly. So we're asking the question, do men and women think differently, or do we process information the same way?
Elista says very differently in the chat.
Okay, how? Like what? Example.
Can I ask her to mic up? I'm not sure who Elista is.
Oh, she's my wife. She's gonna give a reply shortly.
Okay.
She's speaking differently right now.
Indeed. Go ahead. Just read me. Note 85. Go ahead. Yes. Go ahead.
I can go ahead?
Yes, please.
Andre Osborne here.
Okay.
Well, go on. I think we do think differently. Well, this is how I see it. Most of the time, a man will choose a thing that works, and a woman would choose something because of how it makes them feel or how the thing looks. All right, and I'm speaking from the perspective of a married man with a woman at home. And so sometimes, let's use a plate basket, for example. All right, those that you wash the plate and you have some that runs the water off into the sink, right? Mm-hmm. But sometimes those don't look too good. And she would choose one that looks good, that keeps the water in it. And when I would say, but that to me don't make no sense. It not really work, because you have to take out the thing and throw out the water, as opposed to just putting the thing there and the water just runs up. And so the focus is on how the thing looks, when I walk in and see it. And so from that, I look at it and say, we think differently about things.
Okay, interesting.
And that's just one thing.
Yes. Okay. Anybody else? Quickly. Do we think differently, and do we process information differently or the same way?
Chat.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Anya, I think it's both. We think differently and process information differently. Men tend to want to solve a problem, but women tend to think broader. Anisia, men sometimes think analytical, as women think emotional. Okay, that's it.
Okay, good stuff. Can I get one more? Because I want to introduce.
I will give an
Yes,
answer.
Andre.
I agree
Okay.
with the analytical part for a woman. I say some men are, they want a quick answer or go straight to the point sometimes. Whereas a woman, they use both sides of the brain. What's the advantage of this or what's the disadvantage? Whereas a guy is like, okay, I want to get this done, or this is the easiest way to get it done. Boom. So we think different in that sense.
Okay. Go ahead, Vivian.
Yeah, I think the gentleman mentioned it today. We do think differently using different sides of the brain. One is analytical, one is emotional, and that's what it is.
Okay, Vivian, read the summary, please.
Okay, where is it?
You don't see it. Recent findings.
Okay, recent findings from modern, what's that word?
Neuroscience.
Neuroscience and interpersonal neurobiology show there are unique aspects of the male brain, also endocrine and other systems, quite different from female brains. This includes analytical brain structures, not emotional, designed to solve problems. Men have an inborn, biologically based competitive instinct. They also have an area of the brain designed for sexual pursuit that is more than 2 times larger than females.
All right, you see what I'm talking about, the makeup now? This is a part of the biological makeup now of the male versus the female. That's how we, in the head space. That's how we think differently. But continue.
Okay.
Sorry.
The brain circuits for fear, aggression, and defense are far from prominent in men than in women.
Okay, are far more prominent.
I'm not seeing anymore.
Okay, I'm sorry. So it is saying that the brain circuits for fear, aggression, and defense.
That's the last thing.
Right.
The brain circuits for fear, aggression, and defense are far from prominent in men than in women.
Okay, so you're seeing far from. The word should be, it should be far more prominent in men.
Are far more.
Right.
Okay, are far more prominent in men than in women.
Women. Okay, so we're just talking about now the biological makeup of the head, of the brain. That's why we're going to be thinking differently. However, let me give some exercise here now. Ready for some exercise now. Men and women not only think differently, but we also process information in a different way. For example, a woman is an emotional feeler, a man is a logical thinker.
Logical thinker.
No, we're not saying that every last woman is more emotional or is less logical than men. No, we are the same generally speaking. And that's why we gave that information about how the makeup of the brain, be it male and female, is concerned. For a woman, language spoken is an expression of what she feels. For a man, language spoken is an expression of what he's thinking. What does that mean? It means that whenever we're going to have a conversation with females, or if we hear something from a female, let us understand that it might be coming from an emotional experience. When the man hear it, also as far as or rather, when it's coming from the female, it feels like an emotional experience. So she might use a lot of hyperbole in her conversations, talk, speech, so as to get a point across. But but does not, and so if the male does not, I think Richard mentioned it earlier that women expect us to be mind readers. Well, yes, gentlemen, you have to learn to be mind readers. You have to learn to be mind readers, right? Because language that is heard by a man is a receiving information. So when a female uses a lot of emotionally charged terms, men ought not to walk away, say, either she called me, remember say, either I'm vexed. All I can say here, gentlemen, the truth be told, she is emotionally charged, using emotional terms just to get a particular message across. And sometimes we don't get the message. Sometimes we do not get the message.
Sometimes they get a response, through communication, trying to get a certain response from you, but you're not picking it up. Like I said, not understanding what is being portrayed. Like we mentioned, Mr. Abrams.
But I'm tempted to say something at this juncture, but my wife is looking at me and I want to sleep well tonight. So I'm going to pause. I'm not going to say anything.
What move?
But Andre,
Read
question.
between the lines. Remember them saying, we'll learn a word today, then we must learn to read between the lines.
But then,
yes, go ahead.
But then the challenge with that, if we're hearing something that is coming from the emotion, right? And we know it's the emotion. How do I, because of how I'm wired as a man, how do I figure out that, this is coming from the emotion and it is not just, what she's thinking?
All right, very good.
Or what is?
No, excellent question. And that's what we need to do. When we say something like this, we need to ask questions. Excellent. If you recognize, and this is what I said earlier, we cannot treat each other from our standpoint. We have to get into the mindset of saying, okay, this is how I would naturally want to talk. I would naturally want to respond. And this is what would come from me naturally. But if I learn a while ago that she might be emotionally charged when she's sharing certain things, she might even be very logically charged. Don't get me wrong now. My argument is, let us check understanding. So rather than run off and just hear the words, hear the emotionally charged terms and feel offended by them, I'm inviting us to check understanding. So we can say, tell me something, I heard you say so and so and so. Should I understand you to be saying so and so and so? And I guarantee you, when you repeat exactly what they just said, there is a strong possibility, notice my choice of words, there's a strong possibility where they might say, no, that's not what I'm saying. You must not say, but that's what you just said. Don't do that. Give her an opportunity to explain to you what is it that she said, because what you did is just replay to her what she stated a while ago. So when you hear it, she's like, no, but you're not listening. And in your mind, but I verbatimly said everything. What do you mean I'm not listening? Right?
Right.
Hold on. So I am just saying here is this. So what we do, one way to do this is to check understanding. From the males, to check understanding. From the females, I'm saying to say, the time past I used to say to my wife, say what you mean and mean what you say. I just said that to her, I said, honey, say what you mean and mean what you say, because you said something. And then I said, okay, I'm going to act on that. And she said, well, that's not what I'm saying. I said, say what you mean, mean what you say. But then I realized, no, that's not that. So, but maybe, we want to invite our females now to think clearly about the conversation and the message that they want to state, and just be a little bit more direct in the conversation piece. Okay. This is not the time, well, yeah, it should be, where I need to teach folks now about giving people sandwiches, because it teaches you not only how it teaches you how to have a conversation with people, where we learn to give people sandwiches. But I see some hands all over the place, so let me quickly deal with those hands and then come back. Trevor, Brother Smith, go ahead.
All right. As I'm listening, going through, one of the things that I think we ought to be careful about is that we don't get locked into our gender, in the sense that you can function outside of the stereotypical gender profile. And where I'm going with this is that dialogue, communication is challenging outside of gender. I mean, gender is just one of the other complications that makes communication so difficult. Again, if you look at throwing out a series of words to a young child, I might not be able to make sense of it. Throw it out to an adult, maybe they understand it better. And where I'm going with this is that we need to grow. We need to develop a deeper understanding of what communication is, not only the words, again, but also the context, the body language, all of those kinds of things. What I'm saying is that there is a danger that we can look at it and say, okay, it's coming from females, therefore it's emotional, and then we run off either ignoring it or alternatively getting too deep now to say, well, okay, let me try and unpack that. Thus, I'm just saying, be careful to develop our communication skills, our capacity to understand others. You know, nowadays they package it up. Long time now, emotional intelligence, social intelligence, all of that. But that's what it is. Basically, there is a competence that we need to develop to be able to read behaviors and to be able to respond appropriately to those behaviors. That's where I want to go, and to divorce ourselves then from our gender, from our position, from wherever it is. To hear, and when I say hear, no, I really mean to accept the communication as we believe that it is intended for us to receive it. That's the key, as against thinking male, female, etc. Just wanted to stick that in. That's a danger that I see, that we could run down the road into, get into trouble.
My only challenge though, Brother Smith, we're talking about male-female differences. That is the subject matter that we're discussing.
Yeah. And I agree. But what I'm saying is, don't let us get bogged down though. That's what I'm saying. Yes, we are male, but we also now need to be able to go beyond our maleness and to be able to communicate effectively with the opposite gender. That's all I'm saying.
Well, all right, noted. I still don't think that we understanding how a male thinks and how a female thinks, I really believe it can lend much in how we communicate with each other.
I agree 100%. I'm not denying that. Not at all. I agree.
Okay. All righty. Andrew, go ahead.
All right. Good evening, everyone.
Remember, 10 seconds. Good evening.
Starting now.
Yeah. Quickly.
Okay, so I think it's a beautiful thing that we actually think differently, because it really complements the relationship. You know, sometimes just for example, we're putting on a dinner and the man is just thinking, provide food, people come, people eat. The woman is thinking how it looks, how the place looks, how it's set up, whatever. And at the end of the day, if we are honest with ourselves, we recognize that everything works together to make a good experience for the guests. And if they didn't put in each part, it wouldn't come together in that way. So I think it's an appreciation of each other and knowing differences to bring it together to make something complete.
Excellent. Appreciate that. Go ahead, Vivian, quickly.
Okay. I like when you said that during a conversation, because sometimes it's dependent on how emotionally charged the conversation may be. So I like when you said, if it is that the females say something that you don't understand, it is good to ask the question, is it that this is what you're saying? And you repeat it to be clear, and you don't follow up with saying, but that's not what you said, because you need to understand before you can be understood. So I like when you put that in, and that is very, very important in having a good communication. So the male will go away with an understanding that this is what the female really wanted, or this is what she really need me to do.
Before I go to my next list, thank you very much. Before I go to my next list, I need to have the time. Our time, whoa, time finished. That's all right, because part two, we have part two, literally. But let me close if you don't mind, because that's the time. Don't worry, we have part two. We can easily pick up on part two. It will be equally exciting. But let me close with what Brother Smith, the caution that Brother Smith gave to us. And he can continue sharing thereafter. And that is so true. We have to be very, very careful. I think I was I think I may have alluded to the caution earlier in my statement when I said that we need to step outside of what we naturally and normally do. So what we needed to do is first appreciate our differences. Know that we understand that we are different, however, it is critical that we do not use that as a stepping stone, or to have a position that I'm not going to go to the right or to the left because as some man stay and as a woman stay. And so I alluded to that and said we must stop treating each other from our own context. So I've already alluded to that actually. So let me reiterate that, you know, and then to agree with Brother Smith, that we have to be careful that we do not think that because of my gender, then I am not prepared to make the adjustments. With that, I want to thank you all for being here so far. We do have part two. We wasn't going to finish this today. We hope and trust, however, that you have not only enjoyed yourself, but probably even more importantly, we learned something and can appreciate something as it relates to our differences. Brother Smith.
Let me try clearing the board with some chats. Not sure that all right, some people saying looking forward to part two. We're not talk about it in a little while. Part two will be on November 6th. It's the first and the third Saturday. Okay. All right, I think we can carry this over into part two, Brother Andre. That should be encouragement for the persons there to join us on November 6th. Just want to thank you for sharing powerful insights. Just for clarity, in terms of what I was suggesting is that we always have to know foundation points about ourselves. So understanding that there is a difference in terms of physical wiring, you know, chemical structure of our brains and how we function. There's no question at all about that. However, there is a danger that sometimes we might feel as if that's it. I'm a man, what do you expect? You know, someone think, what do you want? That to me is the danger that we have. Or sure, a woman, as a woman stay. Those are challenges that I think that as we grow, as we get more mature, we should be able to get beyond that. That's where I was going. That don't use that as a crutch, you know, to say, well, boy, that's how God make me. You know that is a famous statement. That's how God make me. So therefore, I'm saying, yeah, but God also provides you with a powerful thing that at the top of, you know, at the top of your shoulder, that you can use, that can be molded to function more effectively. So that's where I was going. So I want to thank you for joining. Let me just explain something. I was just speaking to a friend this afternoon as well, that you share this information. We're going to ask you, because that is our objective. Our objective is to reach far beyond the 70, 80, or 100 sometimes we have. We want to reach thousands of persons with these sessions. So what we have done is that we have captured this. And so you see on your screen, you can access it on YouTube, youtube.com/C/Simply Christians JA, or Facebook, same thing, Simply Christians JA, or you can go to the Center on the Church of Christ.org/media, and you can get not only these sessions, but also sermons, Bible class, etc. Seeking to make a difference, we're inviting you to share with others, because I promise you that people are having difficulties, and our content is widespread. We deal with that over the 2 or more years, because this is pre-COVID. We have dealt with a lot of different issues, and so you can access it. And we also invite you to our worship service. We worship at 77 Red Hills Road. Worship starts at 9 o'clock. If you would want to go, I would suggest that you put a note into, I think there's a Brother Grenell online in the chat, so that he can get you the authorization that you need, since Sunday is a no movement day. But we also meet online using this very same link, starting at 9 o'clock. All right, we also have a midweek Bible class on Tuesdays using the same link, starting same time. Thank you. Thank you, Brother Andre. Appreciate it. All right.
I don't know if Brother Grinnell is on. I don't know if he wants to speak about.
Right.
Or is not time for that yet? Is it time for that?
No, you could actually set it up. I think so. The grief counseling concept.
Right.
Right.
Brother Grinnell? All right, let me quickly state then. So we have you're on.
Yes, Brother Andre.
Go ahead, please.
Just want to emphasize as we grieve the loss of many persons during this period, as a congregation, in addition to NAV Life, we have decided to have a group therapy session to help persons cope. And this will be a little bit different. It won't be like a lectureship of somebody lecturing. It will be somebody directing the discussion of persons who have lost a loved one in recent times. So the first one will be held the last Saturday in this month. And the facilitator, of course, is the 30th of October and start at 6:30. It will be, the person will be facilitating the direction of the discussion for this session will be Brother Andre Allen Casey. And we're looking forward to a great time, because it's a time to offer comfort, and we're open that persons who have gone through some tough time and have learned to cope will be on also to help others to cope as they go through their difficult times. And this will be an ongoing program. It's going to be on the last Saturday of each month. So the first one starts the 30th of October. So we're looking forward to the participation of persons who are at that place that need some level of encouragement, some level of comfort as they go through this a challenging passing of a loved one in their lives. So that's about it, Brother Andre. Over back to you, our brother Trevor Smith.
Brother Smith.
We're done. Thank you. Have a great weekend, and look forward to seeing you on the 6th of November, same time. again, pleading with you, pleading. This is really our plea. Please share this information with someone. Look at it. It's on YouTube. Simply Christians. It's youtube.com/C at Simply Christian. Simply Christians JA. And of course, it's on Facebook as well. So as you're doing all your forwards, just invite someone to be uplifted, to solve a problem with them, for them. All right, thank you very much. And
Yes.
thanks for the interaction. Really great session today.
Thanks much.
Yeah, man. So what's going on, Jay?
I am well, my friend.
Hey,
I am well, Paul.
long time. You know, when I see you first saw your picture, I'm like, I'm a junior this, man.
We hope the recording stop because we don't want people to hear our conversation. But we can talk off air.
Yeah.
All right?
All right.
Yeah, man.